But yes, today we will be introducing Zeta Division, a team that if you watched Masters 1 at Reykjavik, you will be more than familiar with this team, of course, because they came from Japan and obviously were the Japanese first place team based on points to qualify for champions here. The Masters 1 and 2 performance, obviously at Masters 1 they finished third, but they were not present at Masters 2, but due to Northeption's finish, Zeta made it to champions. Now, their expectation, I have no idea. This team has not played in such a long time because their last game was the final of the Japanese qualifiers for Masters 2, but they lost that to Northeption, didn't play in Masters 2, didn't have to play in LCQ, so it has been a very, very long time since Zeta has even played a game, and so there is a lot of question marks as to, you know, how good are they? You know, I don't know, because basically we saw them finish third in Masters 1, then lose to Northeption in the final of Japan, and that's all we have to go off, which is, you know, such a weird kind of thing, because obviously their miracle run in Masters 1 was a bit of a miracle run. No one saw it coming, so how good is this team? I don't know. Their style is slow and steady. You know, they play a pretty controlled style in general, and that's the way that, you know, they kind of pivoted to that, it seemed, in Reykjavik, and it worked very well for them, and they kind of stuck with that for the most part. But then the big question at the bottom is 10 playing? So 10, who is one of their players, I think had an eye problem, you know, and was advised, you know, not to play essentially while, you know, whilst he dealt with this eye problem, and now he has gone to Istanbul and they have a sub, and they've been practicing with a sub, XDLL, instead, but now he's in Istanbul and maybe can play. And so no one really knows whether he will play or not, right? Because they haven't practiced with 10 more recently, but he is the main member of the team. So it's like, you know, a big question mark, and that just adds to the question marks, really, of, you know, how good is this team? I honestly have no idea. They are in a bit of a difficult group with Optic and Loud, but would it shock me if they got out? No. Would it shock me if they didn't win a game? No. I really don't know where to really put Zeta, because we just know so little about them, it seems, because we haven't seen them in such a long time. And in terms of the members of Zeta Division, I'm sure some of you are pretty familiar with Crow, Laz, Dep, Sugar Zero, and 10, or XDLL, we'll have to see. And their coach is XQQ. Some notable performances of course, Laz, who plays a lot of Chamber and, you know, has had some pretty good tournaments, international lands already under his belt. Sugar Zero went monstrous at Reykjavik, and his Astra is honestly one of the best Astras I think we've ever seen, to be honest. It was super impressive, super ratty at times as well. Very, very strong indeed. And so, you know, they do have some things to watch out for as well. Some of the clips, I mean, that last clip that I included of Dep, I had never actually seen before. One of the craziest clips I've ever seen, and Dep, you know, does have that potential to, you know, frag out pretty heavy if he needs to. And so let's take a look at some clips from their last game that they played in the grand final against Northeption, and we'll see some of the things that make Zeta the team that they are. So they're attacking here on Haven, and what we're going to start out with is a bit of pressure here from Northeption down towards A. As you can see, they put the smoke up, they send a flash out. Meanwhile, Zeta are exploring towards Garage, and they are going to, you know, just walk in there and destroy the alarm bot from the Killjoy, create that question mark. But you can see that Northeption playing pretty aggressive here towards this A site, whilst Laz is just holding, and this is kind of classic Zeta, right? Not you know, we're 118 left, right? We're 22 seconds into the round. They've destroyed an alarm bot, but, you know, they haven't really gone else much too far anywhere else. And you'll see what we're about to see is some very good awareness here, because you see the sky is here. They cannot see the sky, but they know that they've given up this control, and they have seen the jet. Okay, so the fact that they've seen the jet, maybe this is some film study that they know Northeption like to do this. But what's about to happen is Sugar Zero is going to spam this and get a free kill on the sky in good time. As you see, the sky is just here hiding behind that. But Sugar Zero, I don't think they could have seen the sky there, but they just seem to know that that was the case. They send a Prowler out, they start chasing the jet. They send a really good stun in as well to really chase that jet back, make sure that there's no trade available. And in they go, right? And I think that this is some good work from Zeta, right? They find that first kill from their patience, and they punish the aggression. And then you get some of this, right? And I really, really love some of the time. You see the timing of their execute here is really, really good. Where Dep puts up his wall, you got the KO nade here, and then this Prowler here, really, really good, right? perfectly timed for when Depp is about to come out of this, right? Come out of his neon wall. It's perfectly timed so that, he could get this kill. But actually, he's not the one that's going to get the kill because this guy is going to get revealed. Jojo here through the smoke, so he's actually going to die to Laz, who's coming up behind instead. Now, Dariali tries to retake back the site and actually does pretty well to get 2 kills, but eventually they swing together, get that kill. We end up in a 3v1, and this was just a really nice round that I think showed some of the Zeta things, right? They go through that kind of default mode early on, try and find the alarm bot, get that down, and then, they find a kill from punishing some aggression, and then they go and do a nice execute and win the round. And now let's come to round 10, which is not a slow round. This is kind of not normally what Zeta do, but they can throw this in there where they do go fast on you and take you by surprise. So what you're going to see here is we're going to see a quick garage push, a little C hit here, as you can see, a little C split, but actually this has just a ton of different layers to it, as you're going to see. So we get Neon Sun early in there, we send a KO flash into garage as well. This is going to turn into a smoke here, this Astra Star, and they actually KO ult from garage as well. So they're KO ulting at this point, and so you can see the reaction from Blackwiz here on Northeption is to try and push and take this space instead, whilst Meteor, who has an op, is going to try and defend the C site here. So what happens is, though, we're going to see that Meteor is able to get this first kill as the KO knife comes in. A Prowler gets sent in, but it's a bit too late as Meteor's already got that kill. But Sugar Zero has managed to punish this, and we've also got the Neon here running through garage, whilst Laz is also coming through B. So you see the different layers of pressure, right? They trust Sugar Zero to deal with any counter push down here, which he does because he's very good at doing that kind of thing. So they get the pressure continuing from here. They can actually res this KO after the Prowler hit the jet, so they've still got the pressure coming in here. They're now pressuring this, and they're pressuring this, right? It's just an absolute wave, a tidal wave really here that is going to come down on them. You see that Depp here actually does push through garage and manages to catch Jojo off guard there as well. Then he uses his neon wall, as you can see, and is coming back towards C. Whilst that's going on, Laz now has found another kill on the rotated Dariali coming from A, and he's got that kill as well. And so now we're just watching Depp chase down Meteor essentially here. Sugar Zero, knowing that he has an op, right? He's not peeking. He's just trying to delay, and eventually they see where he is from the second Prowler, get that kill as well. And yeah, this was just a really, really nice round where pretty much everything worked. They trusted each other, and they managed to find that kill, and eventually here they will get the last kill as well and win the round. But sometimes with Zeta, what I think can go wrong is if their kind of initial plan doesn't go great, whether that initial plan is formulated kind of mid-round, if you can kind of force them off that initial plan and force them to do what you kind of want to do, I think that they can panic a bit, right? They aren't that team that is going to, just go crazy in the moment a lot of the times. They do have some potential to do it, but I think as a team, it's not super high, and they might rely more on, individuals like Depp and Laz to do that for them. And you'll see that here in this round because they do start off slow, but you can tell that they have a bit of an A lean here as they look like they do want to go towards A, but they look out for that aggression like they often do to start off with. But then eventually they are going to come down here towards this A site. The dog comes from the sky, as you can see there. It gets shot. And they try and set up Laz here, for potentially getting this first kill across there, but they're going to get caught off a bit here as everyone is looking towards that sky, and Jojo has found the timing here to get across, and he manages to get that first kill, and, we catch them being a bit undisciplined, which is a bit rare, I would say, for Zeta, especially when they're playing well. It's exceedingly rare. They send a flash out to see that it's still towards A. They put the smokes down, but in come the Seekers, and we're actually going to get a Killjoy lockdown as well, just to ensure that they can't come towards this A site as they throw in that KO knife, which just see the sky, but it's a bit too late. Killjoy lockdown, it is the last round, so, this isn't like a waste or anything. But Killjoy lockdown comes in as it is the last round, and so now, they have kind of dictated to Zeta. There's only 43 seconds left, right? So if you wait out this Killjoy lockdown, like, you probably can't go A with time, or it's going to be a very tight squeeze if you do try and go back towards A, because obviously these players, can retake all of this space. So, they're kind of forced at this point, to explore the other sides of the map. And what you'll see here is, as I said, they kind of, I think can panic a bit at this point, right? They're just running in. They haven't really cleared that at all. And we end up with a pretty good situation for Northeption here where, yeah, I think in those kind of like fast, quick, make a decision, you have to go right now. Zeta can sometimes struggle, and eventually here as Crow, who does get a kill there, is going to die from behind, as you see in Northeption take the round. In terms of the maps that they like, well, there isn't too big of a sample size, as I've mentioned, because they haven't played in such a long time, so take this with a massive grain of salt, because because they might have improved in certain maps and they might not have. And it's a small sample size anyway. So yeah, I don't really know what to take away from their maps overall because it's just very difficult to tell where they'll be because they haven't played and haven't shown anything in such a long time. But in terms of their agents, they do definitely have some favorites like Astra. Sugar Zero Astra is very, very good. And, you know, he will play a lot of Astra on maps like Bind, on maps like Fracture, where you see maybe less Astra. You know, they're still sticking with it, or at least they were. You know, as I said, it's been a long time since they played, so maybe they won't, but this is what they did before. Playing, you know, pretty much exclusively Chamber as well. We'll see again if that changes with the Chamber nerfs and with it being such a long time, whether they change from that. You could see that duelist-wise, you know, they do prefer Raze like a lot of teams, and they were heavy in on Fade, right? And you have to remember that, again, these stats are taken, you know, from before Masters Copenhagen, when not everyone was playing a ton of Fade, but they were pretty early in on Fade, as you can see. And so I expect that, you know, considering Fade just seems to have gotten stronger as people kind of realize how to play it more, I would expect that they would still be playing a lot of Fade in the next tournament as well. Now, on Pistol and Ecos, I don't think that they are the strongest team. As you can see, they're winning, you know, just over 50% of their pistol rounds, but this is in, you know, the Japanese qualifiers where they'll be against some teams that, you know, you would expect them to beat pretty handedly. And you can see that when they're on eco as well, you know, maybe they don't have necessarily the most success. And I think this is kind of how their team plays, right? They aren't the biggest firepower individuals, I would say, but you know, when it comes together as a team, that is when they are playing well. But against ecos and semi-ecos, they're still doing pretty well. And so that is Zeta Division, a team that I think has a high degree of variance, you know, on how they could do at this tournament, right? Would I be surprised if they did very well? No. Would I be surprised if they went out in groups straight away? No, right? And I think that it's just such an unknown, right? That we don't know what team exactly they'll be playing with. We don't know, you know, what they might do on different maps. They've had such a long time to change things if they wanted to. You know, it's going to be a big question mark basically for Zeta. And they're playing against a team in their first game in Loud as well, who also have quite a few question marks. So that is going to be a very interesting first game. And I'm really excited to see Zeta again because obviously they were the darlings of Masters 1.